When I'm searching for a job and I want to adjust my budgeting practice, I usually set out a yearly budget, break it down monthly and then weekly. And I'll include in that heat, hydro, gas, entertainment, anything for the children, and try to really stick with that budget so I don't run into going over it. There are several ways to minimize your expenses. I do things like buying secondhand clothes. I do things like not driving as much, carpooling, using hydro at the correct time. I mean, that's kind of stuff all adds up. People don't think about it, but it really, really adds up.
I think it's very important for Cindy in her situation to make sure she doesn't carry a lot of debt.
Cindy seems to have a good idea of budgeting, the need for budgeting.
Yes.
And I think it's important at her stage to determine where can things be cut if they need to be.
Yes.
What are the needs versus the wants. Although it's not possible to say you need a certain percentage for this, because that depends on expenses, it depends on income and the person's
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
We think, well, we're going to get this job and we'll have this amount of income, but there's costs that come with that. So whether that be mileage or daycare costs, which can be huge, whether it's a new wardrobe that she may need to get into that job, these are some of the things she'll need to take into account and build into her budget.
Even when employment is found, I find in my practice that not having an emergency fund is the biggest downfall of every budget. It's very hard for people to allocate. I use a rule of thumb of about 3 months worth of expenses. So if it costs $4,000, for instance, to operate your household a month, then I want $12,000 in an emergency fund. And it has to be ready cash and available with no penalties. RSPs aren't emergency funds.
No.
You know, that isn't.
They shouldn't be.
And line of credit, that's my other, people come in all the time and they're like, well, I have a home equity line of credit. That's my emergency fund. No, that's not your emergency fund. That's going into debt.
That's right.
I insist that my clients have a tax-free savings account, and it has to be an emergency fund until they get that 3 months worth. Then they can, be a little more speculative with it.
My ideal job would be able to not only be a great interest to me and something I'm passionate about, but also something that can keep my family at a level where they're comfortable. I would take a job not based on the amount of money, because there may be the perfect job for me that is not living up to my financial expectations, but there may be advancements in that job that will come later. I've been very creative in making extra money my whole life. So if it was a job that I felt that I could advance in and that once I got in the door, I would take that job absolutely and find other means to make up the extra money that I need to support my family.
I think she wants to find a dream job where she can advance, but she has to be realistic as well.
Yes.
And know that she's supporting a household and money has to come in. There's a lot of expenses to be paid, so that is a good goal to keep in mind. But, she may have to be a little bit more realistic and take what she can get at this point.
I agree.